Thank you for listening to Dialogues on Democracy, celebrating IFES's 25th anniversary. I'm Laura Osio. Ahead of the November 2011 elections that took place in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, IFES launched the Voice program to help the Congolese participate effectively in the elections and to inform them on the decentralization process that was taking place in their country. To assess the effect of the program, IFES implemented the Voice Impact Evaluation Study. This was one of the first studies that formally utilized experimental methods to assess an adult civic education program in the field of democracy and governance. Daniel Laurent, Program Manager for Francophone West Africa, and Rola Abdul-Latif, Senior Research Specialist at IFES Applied Research Center, talked to us about this effort. Danny's background, please tell us about the Voice Project.
The Voice Project started in September of 2009 as a way of increasing civic awareness of the ongoing decentralization process as well as the upcoming presidential and legislative elections. Over the ensuing year and a half, our efforts focused primarily on delivering voter education in the form of boîte à images sessions, which are civic education sessions that use a box of images to communicate ideas and concepts to populations that may be illiterate. We also combined that with efforts through a subgrant that we issued to Search for Common Ground, which developed and issued a series of radio programs and television spots, as well as printing and distributing a popular comic book on the message of civic education that we were trying to deliver. While the decentralization process did stall, our efforts continued on both messages, and up until the elections of November last year, we were able to achieve nationwide coverage and deliver these important messages to a very broad audience.
Rola, in the field of democracy and governance, this is the first time that this type of evaluation has been done on an adult civic education program. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, in fact, this is one of the first times that an impact evaluation uses experimental design methods on an adult civic civic education program. It is actually, and it's also the first time that an encouragement design is used for an impact evaluation. And what we mean by that is that for this study, we were able to isolate between people who were exposed to the civic education sessions in the form of the boîte à images, and those people who were not exposed in the same villages, and also people from villages that did not have civic education programs at all. And in this way, we were able to compare between those exposed, those not exposed in the same village, and in this fashion, we were able to control as well for what is called a spillover effect, in the case that people who went and attended the sessions discussed them with other people in their village, and with people who were not exposed at all and did not have the chance to hear about these sessions from others. And for this study, we contracted with Professor Stephen Finkel from the University of Pittsburgh, who designed this complex, quite sophisticated impact evaluation for the Voice program.
Please tell us about the findings of the study.
So in general, this impact evaluation study was aimed to measure the effect of the knowledge increase effect as a result of these civic education sessions, and also whether attitudes about decentralization and elections changed as a result of these sessions, and whether people were able to retain information after a lapse of time. What the study found is that there was definitely a clear increase, and quite of a large magnitude, in terms of the immediate knowledge increase specifically on decentralization and elections. However, we did not find corresponding changes in attitudes in terms of people becoming more amenable to certain democratic ideas necessarily, i.e. the people who attended and did not attend had more or less the same views. And what we also found is that people who were interviewed after a certain time, we saw that there was a fade out of the knowledge that they acquired from these sessions. So those people who were interviewed immediately after the sessions there was a clear effect. Those who were interviewed later, we saw that the knowledge increase was less.
Why is it important to conduct these types of evaluations on our programs?
Well, I think it's very important for us in that it guides us in the way we develop and deliver these programs. I mean, I think Rola touched on a number of key issues, key findings that came out of the study, such as the prospective voters' attitude, the spillover effect. And I think that the results of this study show us that there are things that we could probably be doing better in designing and developing these materials, A, and B, in the actual delivery. I think also this is important because it helps us with our donors and explaining to there's often a sense that voter attitudes will change just because of education, and that's something that this study has found is not always the case. The attitude that a voter has vis-a-vis an election is governed by so much more than just their knowledge of the electoral process, that we are only touching on a very small component of it. It's very important, but it's only one of many components. So, but I do think that there are a lot of things that we can take away from this experiment or this experience and change things a bit and deliver things in a more effective and positive way.
I would like to add that first, using this type of experimental design allows us to make stronger statements and be more confident about the causal effects of our program interventions, as opposed to making just, for example, pre and post kind of surveys, which do not allow us to disentangle the different effects and actually study the specific factors that contribute to the success of a certain civic education program. And for example, from this study, we can say that in the future we would want first to make sure that people to encourage people to discuss more with those around them in their village, so that there is more of a spillover effect from a one-time exposure to this type of session. We also would recommend that the quality of those sessions are improved and make sure that the facilitators are well trained so that the delivery is good and then the retention of the information is good.
Will IFES be conducting more of these evaluations?
Yes, IFES definitely is planning to conduct more of these evaluations, and in fact in the Applied Research Center, which is the research division of IFES, we are getting more training, more focused trainings on designing impact evaluations and doing impact evaluation data analysis. So we're looking forward to using more sophisticated research techniques to be able to conduct these very important evaluations that are necessary for us to be able to draw conclusions about our programs.
Also, as a follow-on to the impact assessment that we did on the Voice program, we're exploring the possibility of having somebody come in and actually do a wholesale review of all of the civic education programs that we have done or are doing, with an aim towards improving our design of those projects going forward. It will help us not only deliver better programs, but it will also help us develop better proposals for our donors, so that we ensure that these types of impact assessments are a natural part of all of our projects and not something that we have to struggle to add in at the last minute, and we're competing with activity funds. So that's where we're hoping to go.
For more dialogues on democracy, please visit ifes.org.